what's your typical day of movement look like? How do you like coordinate your day with how much you want to move, and what do you actually kind of do on a daily basis right now?
Yeah, I'm moving every day, and I got into kettlebells recently, so that's been fun exploring that. And I got competition kettlebells, so they're all the same size but different weights, and the colours are nice. Maybe there's something in the mushrooms that drew me to that, but it's very appealing. But I'm also doing a lot of walking and running, and kind of like I moved to a new area just before the lockdown started, and so I've been exploring the local hills here, and yeah, running and walking. I'm rolling ropes every day, which is kind of like, people might have seen me on my Instagram if they follow me, swinging these ropes, which helps with locomotion. And I've started to run, but I'm trying to do it. When I run, I end up, I've got a history where I've ran marathons and 100-kilometer races, and that was 2 years before the tail end of veganism, and I would have niggles that I would just ignore. And so now I got to a point where I didn't like having niggles. I'd rather not train than train through a niggle. And I think a lot of humans, they're addicted to their sport, and they have a niggle, and once they warm up, they don't feel it. In between it, they manage it, but I could not ignore those in my body anymore. And so I got into running, but I'm really listening this time. So as I build up my running, I'm building it up organically, and not in a way that's going to tax and take away from the end of my life in a way. So I'm just going really gentle. I ran 2 miles today. I ran 3 miles yesterday, and I probably won't run tomorrow, and then I'll run again the day after. And I'm just trying to build up slow, gentle miles so that I can run. And I end up going in the mountains and running hard, and the heart rate's high, and then I feel burnt out for 2 days. And some people can feel burnt out, and then they'll warm up and they'll train and they'll go hard the next day. And then I've done that before. I did CrossFit for a while, and I'd be so tired walking in there yawning, and I'd hammer the wad, feel great afterwards, and the next day I'd wake up feeling absolutely burnt out, and I'd go again. And that was just not conducive to longevity. So I'm trying to find this training point, which I'm sure you're at, where you still progress and you still push yourself, but you don't ignore the signs saying you're overtraining. And it's kind of it's a new place to be learning, but it's tough, but I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, I feel you. I've had that same battle for most of my life. I was a former, Division I scholarship baseball player, and it was about explosiveness and what's your squat, what's your overhead press, how hard do you throw, how far can you hit the ball, and you're always a little banged up as a high level athlete. And then as I got into my late 20s, doing way too much pushing and not enough pulling exercises, not enough just moving like a human, I really messed up of all things. I was doing kind of a joking around breakdance crow move. I jumped up and I hit a pause, and I tore my rotator cuff and my brachialis pretty bad. So I had surgery, and that took me 10 years to be able to do a normal push-up after that. And yeah, it was a bad road to recovery. And then 5 years later, my other shoulder started kind of feeling it that same way. And instead of just doing the same crap and hoping that it didn't, erupt, I had to change my whole mentality. That's basically what got me into yoga therapy. And now I'm in the philosophy the same as you. I don't want to be sore to the point where it affects my life negatively ever. Like maybe once in a while, really push myself and get sore and then recover. But I want to move and I want to move every day. I want to move and feel good every day. And I do want to have a progression and a refinement. And so for me, what I've found is that the old kind of greasing the groove.
Greasing the groove was in my head, bro. You said it. Yeah.
To me, it's the most genius thing ever. You know what I mean? It's like, you allow your body to dictate where your intensities are at. So every day I'm going to do some kettlebells. I'm going to do some pull-ups. I might do some push-ups. I might do some, Ido Portal style, like Floria groundwork to like open up my hips and work my lower body. And sometimes it'll turn into a very intense, hard workout. But 85% of the time, it's just actually kind of easy and fun, and trying to stack what I call enjoyable movement volume into my day. And the more I can do that, the more it fills me up with goodness. And I can see it in my body. It gives me what I want. And at the same time, I'm not like tomorrow, I'm not going to be waking up and like, oh, needing to go to the chiropractor or, you know, just needing to whatever. So greasing the groove is huge.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's nothing more depressing than stepping out of bed in the morning and that first step is painful. That is not a way to live, and that's how many of us lived, and how I lived like that for years, and it's just not a nice way to start your day. So yeah, greasing the groove. Thank you for reaffirming that. That's been really in my head the last week or so. It's like, stop going so hard, grease the groove, and then you've said it there. So that's the new wave, brother. I'm on it.
Yeah, there's that neurotic tendency that I have to fight to be like, you're not doing enough. You got to go to failure. You got to push and push and push. And then, you know, you kind of talked about one of the worst feelings in the world is waking up and just feeling horrible. That sucks. But for me, what's even worse is not wanting to move my body.
Yeah.
When I'm in a place where I'm like looking at a pull-up and I'm like, dude, I'm like trembling. Like I got to do pull-ups today. Shit.
Yeah.
That's not a good mental place to be. I'd rather be in that place where I'm going to be like, oh, dude, I get to like work my scapular retraction and really like work my body and explore different angles and things and more enjoyable. And plus I'm 40 years old. I'm not a little young guy anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at 50 and 60 and 70 and 80. And I want to be 80 years old and still be able to have sex, dance, climb mountains, do anything I want, and not just kind of like creaking along. I want to be able to have some good mobility and strength when I'm that age. So what I've noticed, here's a question for you. I had a text. I was talking to a buddy and I said, oh, I'm interviewing Tim and I'm super excited about it. You know, I've been following him for a bit. And he's like, yeah, man, have you checked out his new stuff? He's all into jump roping. And I was like, whoa. Like, circle back there, brother. Like, he's not jump roping. He's using a rope. I believe you're calling it the way of the rope. I'd love to hear about this new thing that you're doing. You're just teasing us with the content right now, I can see. But I'd like to hear, where did this come from? What's kind of the general idea behind it?
Yeah, so on the path of biomechanics, it led me to functional patterns, which some people might know. And so I pursued that. I did the Human Foundations course with them because they relate everything to locomotion. The founder has he asks a lot of the right questions. That's not, but again, inevitably, it doesn't mean that someone's got the right answers just because they ask the right questions. But he's got some wisdom, and so I pursued that, and eventually things happened, and they didn't want me pursuing it. They kicked me out. Right. So I was upset. This was the thing I was passionate about. So I was like, what else is there out there that's talking about biomechanics? And someone pointed me to the direction of Weck method. And this is the guy called David Weck who founded the Weck method. And he's the guy that invented the Bosu ball, which is the kind of half dome, inflatable thing you see in some gyms, but everyone uses it upside down, but it's meant to be used as a compression device for the inner thighs while you're balancing, doing weights or other things. But anyway, I saw some of his videos and he seems a bit wacky, but in a good kind of way. I liked it. And he was rolling the rope, and then he had some athletic looking dudes on his Instagram and on their Instagram rolling the ropes. I didn't quite understand it, but I thought, let me just follow this rabbit. Let me chase this rabbit down this hole. And I ended up in San Diego in October last year, and it was a 3-day course to do my WMQ1, Weck Method Qualification Level 1. And there's like 3 main principles, but one of them was the rope, and I'd seen them doing it, but I hadn't seen it explained. And within 5 minutes of them explaining it to me and rolling it myself, it blew my mind. Like, everyone jumps the rope, right? When you jump a rope, your hands go down and your feet come up. That's not how you jump. It's okay to do, but if you do it all the time, you're teaching your body a bad pattern because you're teaching it to compress in the air rather than when you jump, you want to gather your hands and your hands come as your feet push off the floor and everything works together. So when you roll the rope, it teaches you the timing of down and up. So you rise with it. You don't jump it when you jump a rope. Like I said, it's the opposite is happening. So you're in the opposite timing to jumping rope and you're coming up with the rope, as well as your left and right hand are connected via the rope. So they're kind of like can communicate like a cup and a string,
Mm-hmm.
whereas if the right is lazy or just not coordinated or not timed well with the left, the rope's going to smack you in the head or in the leg. So as you roll the rope, and there's 4 main patterns that you do, which kind of underhand motion, which relates directly to locomotion, overhand, which relates to throwing and boxing and punching and swimming, and then there's dragon roll, which teaches us spinal rotation, and then the sneak, which is kind of an inversion. Between those 4 patterns, it has the patterns of all human functional movement are hidden in the rope. And so you can accumulate thousands of reps with no impact, because you never have to jump off the floor. You can stand on the floor. You can be completely out of bed in the morning and roll rope. You can do it as a warm up. You can do it as a cool down. You can get a heavy rope and do it as a core workout for your spine, because your spine's constantly moving in a figure of 8. Every joint in your upper body moves on this figure of 8 path. So it's teaching you positive patterns of movement. It's teaching you good timing. It's teaching you coordination. It's teaching both sides of your body to work together. So your left and right hemispheres of your brain are becoming balanced as well. It's like you say for digestion, because so sometimes I don't want to go for a walk after I've eaten, but I'll go on my balcony and I'll roll rope, and I'm massaging my organs as the rope comes to the right hand side. I'm compressing on the right side, and it comes up into the left, and it's just when I felt it, when I understood that and I felt it, I was like, whoa, this is good. And then having put in, half an hour a day here and there for a few months now, and it's been about 6 months since I had it, and I put out the content on my Instagram and YouTube, and I'm moving pretty athletically because of the rope. So it could teach dancers to dance more coordinated, martial artists to fight with timing from the body. A hook or a punch comes from the floor up through the hip, through the arm. It's slings, working in slings. It's not everything goes. It's this timing. So it's magical for that. If you gave it to teenage kids, it's one of those things where you're like, is it really that? How does no one discover this before? Why they would have done it surely? Why are people not doing it? I feel like you could take a high school football team or baseball team or basketball team, and you put them on the ropes for 2 months, they're going to be a whole nother level of athlete between all of them, because it trains the foundation of coordination, and no other tools do that. We do strength training in the gym. We play the sport that we play. We maybe do some cardio, but we never train specifically coordination. And this is a tool that I've found that does that like nothing else. And so I just made a beginner's guide on my website, on humantimothy.co.uk, but it's way of the rope beginner's guide for anyone that picks it up, just to kind of explain it. But there's videos on YouTube, man. You don't need to get my guide. There's other tutorials out there, and I'm just loving it. I don't know if you've got any questions off that. But.
Yeah, no, I have a few questions, but I wanted to interject what it reminded me of, and you can't help but notice there's a melodic balance to it, and it's not just standing still, and it's your lower body is dancing with it, the hips, the feet, pointing the toes, stretching, and it reminded me of back in the day when I used to go to really fun underground raves, and people would be spinning poi and doing fire ropes, and it kind of has that same figure 8 motion, and it looks, I'm 100% gonna get some, and I'm gonna play with those things. They look like that's just right up my alley. I'm curious for you as an athlete, as a mover, and this might be, I don't know, I'll just ask, what areas of your body are you seeing changes in? Hand strength, shoulder mobility, kind of what's the general feeling that it's doing to you?
Yeah, well, just to go on the poi point, it is absolutely all tools like poi, but then martial arts tools, nunchucks, bow staff. What the rope can do is it can teach. They're kind of like show tools or weapons. The rope teaches you that from the opposite kind of direction. So it teaches you can work on the footwork and the head positioning and the wrist mobility, because it's a steep learning curve to pick up a bow staff and suddenly spin it, so you can work on the coordination side of it, and then when you do pick up a bow staff, it will be 10 times easier. It will give you kind of rapid skill acquisition, so you could learn the poi a lot faster if you did the rope. If everyone did a year of rope at some point in their life, then they could pick up any skill like that a lot easier. or if you did it alongside it. But with the rope, it's not about, the thing is, it's not about looking cool in any way, even though it can look cool. It's purely about what is it doing and programming into the body internally. Now you ask, what have I felt with it? I felt these, like one thing that we don't utilize enough is our kind of lower lat, because our shoulders, that's what pulls our shoulders down, and we're so square and rigid. In most of our training we do, like CrossFit and everything, is very two sides at the same time. And when we walk, like you say, bipedal humans, we walk in a unilateral fashion, one side then the other. It teaches you to access that lower lat a lot better. And if you think about brachiation as well, we'd swing one arm and the other, and we'd be in this balanced position as we swing. So it's that's the major thing I've noticed, is the timing. The coordination from my movements to my running, I feel my timing of my left and right hands a lot better. I feel more controlled in my hands. But then just the access to the core of the body, I feel a lot stronger in my core, and many things.
Awesome. I'm kind of like, where my mind went instantly when you were showing some of the stuff is like, I can't wait to get that thing and put on some music and time up the BPMs.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of like one dance, really.
Yeah, you got to find the right pace music and go. And you can go hard and get angry, or you can go gentle and just dance and vibe out and do some footwork,
That's great. That's great. I'm looking forward to that. So tell us again where people can both find your guidebook and where they can pick up a rope.
Yeah, so I released both at once. I've released my own rope called the Golden Teacher. It's kind of a gold rope, and it's kind of an ode to the old mushroom Golden Teacher. But I'm selling the guide. If you have your own rope, you can make your own rope. I searched to find a good weighted rope. If you're an American, you don't want to pay the shipping from the UK, because I'm shipping from here, you can check out WEC Method, and I'll always give credit to them as the guys who founded it, and they sell their ropes in America. So absolutely go check out the WEC Method. I think I've got a code for them, Timothy. You might get some discount with the all caps up Timothy. But for mine, humantimothy.co.uk. There's a beginner's guide course, there's a rope, and I'll create a discount code for your viewers, Rob20, 20% off. So you can do that. And if you want to check it out, humantimothy.co.uk, on Instagram @humantimothy, if you want to see it before you check it out.